Hello beautiful people, welcome to my channel. I'm Gift God's Time by name if you're stopping by for the first time, and to my existing subscribers, thank you for your support. So today's tutorial I'm going to be teaching you how to achieve a pleated neckline on a dress. Kindly stay tuned. For this project, I'll be using my half scale pattern bodies, and I have a well detailed tutorial on how to draft a basic bodice pattern. For clarification purpose, I've gone ahead to indicate my bust point, under bust and waist, and I also impute my darts both for the waist and that of the bust darts. Next, I'm going to slash open the waist dart because I want to transfer it over to the bust darts. I will slash open the bust dart so that it will be easy for me to close the waist and open the bust dart. The video illustrates much better. So I'm going to use my tape just to tape it down. With our bust dart being open, it will be easy to slash the neckline and create the pleats. So now I'll be creating the pleats at the neckline. So firstly, I'm going to connect the apex of the neckline, the tip, as you can see from the video, down to the bust point. Next, I'll be using 1 inch for my spacing to the next point I'm going to mark at the top line. So that is what I'm doing, giving each spacing 1 inch gap. So I'm going to mark 2 at the top, and I will come down to mark the 2 I did at the top to connect them. So next, at this down part, I'm going to be using 1.25 inches. You can go ahead to also use 1.5 inches so that the lines don't cluster, they are parallel to each other. So I'm going to be connecting another line, making it 4 lines all together. That is the shape in which I want. You can also extend yours, but try as much as possible not to alter your armhole region. I'm done with the number of lines I want. Next, I'm going to slash it open to very close to the point, but I'm not going to open it completely. After slashing all points, next I will proceed to close my bust dart because it will be very easy to do it, and then I'll be able to spread those points which I slash, that is the neckline. Right now I'll be folding my fabric into 2 because I'll be cutting it on fold. So I'll take my pattern. This is the center front. I'm going ahead to indicate it. So this part will be on fold. So I'm going to align this part with my folded fabric, as you can see from the video. After securing my pattern with pins, I'm going ahead to spread those parts which I slashed, and I'll be using 1 inch for the spreading. Me using 1 inch is not the benchmark. You can also use 1.5 or even 2 inches, depending on the amount of fabric you have and also how much spacing you want the neckline to be. I want mine to be closely spaced. That's why I'm using 1 inch. When you use like 1.5 or 2, it's a bit wide at the end, the outcome. So I want 1 inch, so that's why I'm using it. So next, I'm just checking it to make sure that I maintain that 1 inch all through. So I'll be adding half inch at the bottom, and then at the sides I'll also add extra 1.5 inch for my sewing allowance. So because I'm cutting directly on the fabric, I did not add all this on my pattern. So next, when I'm cutting the upper part, I'm going to go a little bit above the pattern. At the end, I'll tell you why I went above, because we'll still align it properly, but you have to go above your pattern to cut it for the neck region. So this is how yours should be. So now we're going to be pleating those points. So I'm going to take one of the strip and pleat it together to align with the other part, so that we'll be able to get our initial neckline. So the reason why I left a little bit at the top, because by the time you are pleating, if you cut directly at first, you will see that you will have some shortage as you are pleating. So that's why you are going to leave like half inch or 1 inch above before pleating. So now I'm going to cut out those extra. This is how it looks like at the back. So now I'm going to cut out those excess that I left above after getting my initial neckline. So after pleating, this is the outcome. Our neckline is intact. Next, I'm going to be giving those points which I pleat a notch, because by the time you open your fabric up, so that you'll be able to know where and where to pleat, how to pleat it from one point to other. So those pleated parts which I have done on the pattern, I am going to notch it. That is what I'm doing currently. When doing this part, take your time to give every point a notch, because it is necessary and it will guide you. After notching it also, try as much as possible to use your chalk to indicate those lines, because by the time you open it up, it will be a little bit messy. So those chalk and notch will help you know which point to pleat it to. So now I'm taking off my pins and those pleated parts, and this is how it is open. As you can see, it's a little bit messy. I've gone ahead to use my chalk to guide me, so I already know the midpoint. So the first part, I'll be pleating 1 point to that midpoint. So I'm going to use my pin to pin it down, and next I will also move to the next point and pleat it to the point. So you see why the notch is important, and the chalk, it will guide you which particular point you need to move the pleating to. So that is what I'm going to do all through the neckline, and I'll be able to get my initial neckline at first and also achieve the pleated neckline, which is the main aim of this tutorial. I'm done pleating one part of the neckline, so I'll move to the other part. So if you notice what I'm doing, all the pleating are facing, that is like one direction. They are all pointing towards the midpoint. if you pleat yours in two different directions, you will have a different outcome. So this is how it should be. So as you can see, we are done with the pleated neckline and it looks perfect. So this is how yours should be. So next I'm going to take my facing I cut earlier from your basic bodice. So this is what I'm going to use to sew the neckline to give me a neat finishing. So lastly, you are going to add your back bodice to join them, and we are done with the top. If you've watched this far, please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't. See you in my next tutorial.